Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to Casually Explained Being Healthy. Now we all love being healthy. I mean, actually probably don't all love it, but we all try to do it. I feel like people want to be healthy. I'm typically quite healthy, but the last bit of time I've just been craving terrible food. This morning, I mean it's now 11:20, but I had a healthy breakfast. I had egg on toast with I cut up some chicken breast. Mixed some herbs with it, or like some spices, and then I had just an orange on the side. And then about an hour later, so probably around 10 o'clock, because I woke up around 8, showered or whatever, made food, took a bit of time. I wanted to have just an ice lolly, just a lovely ice lolly that I had yesterday. But I thought, you know what? If I'm trying to be healthier, I don't want to start the day with something like an ice lolly, even though it's hot and I'm just craving it. I thought, you know what, I'm not going to do that, so I just left it. I'll probably have it after these videos that I do today, because that's just me, classic me. I'll avoid something and then I'll cave in an hour and a half later. But that's me trying to be healthy again, because I've had a bit of a bad spell for the last few weeks, maybe even the last few months. I have good days, but I just always snack. That's my issue. I love sweet stuff. I always snack, and it's not good. But I do always still try and eat like as many fruits and vegetables as possible. But yeah, we're gonna check this out and see Casually Explained Being Healthy. We're gonna see. I mean, I guess it's gonna talk about the benefits. I mean, everyone knows the benefits, but we're just gonna watch this reaction and see what it has to say. But yeah, hopefully going to enjoy. Links are in the description to my Patreon, where you can see reactions that I can't post to YouTube, movies, whatever reactions, TV series, all that stuff. Links are there. But let's check this video out.
Well, it's pretty common knowledge that certain foods are healthy and others aren't so much. It's pretty rare that you ever get an explanation as to why. And one thing that bothers me...
Wait, this is Big Health. I feel like I'll probably put it up here, because I feel like these videos have quite a lot of labels and stuff at the bottom, but we'll see.
Quite a bit is when someone says to eat something because it's good for you or it's a superfood, and almost universally what that really
So superfoods here that I can actually say. Apples. I love apples. I absolutely love them, but I just don't get them half the time, because I don't know why. I think they're a bit of a hassle to get. When they're not, you just bite them. They're the easiest fruit to eat. If anything, an orange is harder to eat. I just don't think to get them, to be honest. I love apples though, green or red. Broccoli's probably the vegetable that I eat most. I don't know what these. I guess they're grains. I don't know what they are. Is that like? God, actually, I don't know what it is. I don't know what this is. What are these called? I literally have these at home. I have these in my smoothies every time I have a smoothie. I don't like how they taste, but because I know they're healthy, I'll just throw them in my smoothie. Asparagus. This is another nut, I think. Kiwi, love kiwi. Chickpeas, I never eat chickpeas, and then there's some hidden here. I eat quite a lot of these though, so this is making me feel a bit better.
translates to is it grows in nature. Ironically, half the time it only grows in nature because we've selectively bred it over thousands of years to be that way.
Damn.
And when half of our leading sources of nutrition advice are Pinterest recipes, a lot of what we consider common knowledge is actually completely made up. As an example, one of the most common terms you'll see online with regards to healthy food is that something gets rid of toxins in your body, which really doesn't make any sense. If your body is filled with toxins and certain foods remove them, then that means we could have brought back Steve Irwin with a blueberry smoothie. In reality, almost all supplements or foods that get rid of toxins are really just laxatives or diuretics, so it makes you feel like they're somehow flushing something away, when in reality you could have just put 3 shots of vodka in your latte like a regular person. The next thing you'll often run into are online recipes for anything made overnight in a mason jar telling you you're not getting enough antioxidants. And one of the ways you can tell if you're not getting enough antioxidants is by looking at your skin and seeing if it's starting to rust. And while they do play a role in your body, the problem with suggesting that you should consume more is that it's fundamentally like saying the more oil you have in your car, the less likely it is to break down, which is not true, because too much actually makes things worse. The good news is that if you do have too much oil in your car, you can add the excess to your overnight oats, because motor oil is also high in antioxidants. Another common idea that's recently started to shift is that you should never skip breakfast, which there is absolutely no scientific basis for.
I feel like this was probably just a money-making method, right? Because they probably saw an opportunity to have like cereals and all these sweet breakfasts. So then it was sort of ingrained into younger kids at the time, growing up, and we're like, okay, yeah, breakfast is important. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not important, to be fair, because when I was in high school, I used to hate eating breakfast. Like, the idea of just waking up and eating something straight away made me feel sick because my mouth was all dry and I just wanted to wake up a few hours after, like before eating anything. That's why I sometimes have cereal. I'd never have savoury breakfast. Actually, I'd have toast with like jam and stuff for breakfast to sweet again. But then the older I've got, I felt like I actually want to have breakfast now because I just feel like it gives you that energy for the day. And I had breakfast like 2 hours ago and I'm hungry again. So, I mean, for me, I do it, but it depends, I guess, what job you do. If you have a really hard job, it's probably important to eat breakfast. If you have a much easier, simple job where you're sitting on a chair, you probably don't need it as much, but
except that breakfast food is my favorite. I think the funny thing is that when I used to tell people I skipped
cheesecake.
breakfast, they thought I was crazy. But now I can say I'm doing intermittent fasting, and they're like, "Oh, very disciplined."
Spiritual.
When in reality, I just woke up at noon. Relatedly, the next thing that's often incredibly misunderstood is diet, especially with things like paleo, keto, intermittent fasting, and varying degrees of vegetarianism
Isn't keto diet really hard to do?
becoming so popular. We've all heard limitless jokes about how do you know if someone is a vegan? Because they'll tell you, ha ha ha, classic comedy. But that's not even the case anymore. I see way more people on low carb ketogenic diets post things on the internet like, look at this fool I saw today eating an apple like an absolute normie, as they show off their Costco haul of pork rinds and butter. The most important thing to know is that generally speaking, weight is regulated by calorie intake, so you have a certain amount of calories you burn in a day, and if you repeatedly intake more than that, you'll gain weight, and if you intake less than that, you'll lose weight. As a quick disclaimer, the exact amount of calories absorbed from food isn't always 100%, which is why some people claim calories in, calories out isn't true, but being more exact, calories metabolized and absorbed minus calories burned always is true. Now, for the average person, the amount of calories burned is around 2,000 to 2,500 calories a day. Then the generally accepted rule is that there is 3,500 calories in a pound of body fat. So say you wanted to get thick because it's 2019, you would have to eat roughly 500 calories above your daily maintenance for 71 days to gain 10 pounds.
Jeez.
Then if we look at the composition of food itself, all food is made up of 3 primary macronutrients that serve a different bodily function, and each has a different caloric value. We have fat, which has 9 calories per gram, protein, which has 4 calories per gram, and carbohydrates, which have 4 calories per gram as well. And then there's a 4th bonus macronutrient, alcohol, which has 7 calories per gram. As for their physiological roles, loosely speaking, fat regulates hormones and stops your cells from imploding. Protein is for bodily function and muscular regeneration. Carbohydrates are primarily for aerobic and anaerobic activity. And then alcohol, which sadly just poisons you. The good news is that because too much alcohol is toxic, if your friend is passed out in the club bathroom, you can flush out the alcohol by popping a blueberry under their tongue, just like a sensu bean. Below that, we have fiber and micronutrients, which are all your vitamins and minerals. Just make sure you get enough of these or your teeth will fall out. Now, with these fundamentals in mind, if we start to take a look at all the popular and successful diets out there nowadays, the fact of the matter is that almost all of them have good points, but they also all have bad points, meaning that you're not an enlightened member of the nutritional Illuminati just because you stopped eating bread. And if we take a look at all the most common diets that cover the full spectrum of plant-based to animal-based, we can see they all have pros and cons. Veganism is sustainable and very nice to the animal.
Probably clean. You're probably eating things maybe that are somewhat better for the body, like animals. Say you're eating meat, you're probably gonna get the odd animal that's gonna have some sort of I don't know, disease or whatever it is, and maybe it's just gonna cause some sort of effects in your body. I can see that. I mean, I love my chicken, my mince meat, I just like burgers, whatever it is. I love all different meats. So I'm not gonna sit here and say I would be a vegan, but I respect it, and I guess I can see some pros, but the cons are also like there. I feel like the amount of protein you can have is definitely not really comparable.
Animals, but it's a bit harder to get the right macronutrients, and you constantly have to wonder if your friends don't want you for dinner because of your dietary restrictions or just your personality. Vegetarianism is sustainable and nice to animals, but limited food choices. Paleo diets are good for weight loss, but again, limited food
I don't even know what paleo is. Paleo diet.
choice. Ketogenic diets, very good for weight loss because it massively regulates.
This one's hard though. You just avoid carbs as much as possible, don't you? But I feel like I've heard a lot of stories of how hard this really is. I feel like this probably is the hardest one to get into to start with. And then maybe once your body gets used to it, it becomes easier.
Blood sugar, which affects cravings and appetite, but it's extremely limiting in terms of food choice. Not very good for anyone doing anaerobic sports because there are no available carbohydrates. But it's actually not bad if you run ultra marathons.
Really?
So next time you go for a 100-mile run, make sure to bring your pepperoni holster. Carnivorous diets, these ones are a bit weird and they're very unsustainable.
I couldn't do that, bro. I don't know how you can just eat meat. I feel like people go through cycles of doing these types of diets. They won't just stick to them because being purely carnivorous your whole life just sounds a bit too intense, to be honest. I think that might be the worst one out of all of them for me. I say that I probably eat more vegetables than meat, but meat is like the most important things in my meals. Like that's what I look forward to eating. You know, the vegetables just on the side, and I'm like, yeah, this is good. I'm having this, but actually, yeah, I'd say veganism is probably the hardest one for me, but I couldn't do a carnivorous diet either.
Sustainable, but very good for weight loss and autoimmune disorders / arthritis / certain types of depression. Jeez. And while there have been some pretty miraculous anecdotes, the downside is that it has not been well studied long term, and everyone at the restaurant will think you're a serial killer as you peel the breading off your KFC family bucket. For some reason, the community is also really involved with cryptocurrency, so if anyone was actually the nutritional Illuminati, this would be it. And then finally, the classic, if it fits your macros, which means eating whatever you want as long as it fits within a designated calorie limit.
I don't track calories. I do this without tracking the calories.
And matches the amount of protein, fat, and carbohydrates you've allotted. This is common for athletes and people who want to be bodybuilders, but in the 7 years they've been going to the gym, they've only made 2 years worth of progress. Speaking of the gym, there are also a few misconceptions when it comes to exercise, and one of the most common jokes you hear in weightlifting communities is making fun of people who say, I'm just looking to tone. Because the only two variables to your physical appearance is the volume of muscle you have and the volume of fat you have. It's also incredibly difficult to gain muscle, so you'll often hear girls and even guys say, you know, I'm worried that if I start lifting weights, I'll get too big. And unfortunately, the thing is, no matter how much you believe you're an anime protagonist, it just isn't going to happen.
No.
Ultimately, there are two main ways of improving your physical health through exercise, which are strength training and cardiovascular training. In other words, how strong is your bod and how strong is your heart and lungs. And while even 30 minutes to an hour of walking a day is enough to make sure everything keeps working, further training at the gym is not only a good idea, it's a lifestyle where you can lift a heavy thing now so you can be in pain for a while and then lift a slightly heavier thing later.
Hell yeah.
Or ski on the elliptical until exhaustion so that once your heart eventually recovers, you'll have more love to give.
Jeez. Oh man. Well, there we go. This is being healthy. Well, you can't skip breakfast. You can only delay it. I like how he lets a couple of minutes silence so we can all trying to get the joke. Yeah, just a little bit of time left between each punchline, etc. That's why I'm black. I'm not getting enough antioxidant. Flipping hell. Oh my god. You forgot the diet. Just eat when you feel weak. Going to the gym for 7 years to get 2 years of progress, man, that really hits me where I live. I mean, I started gym when I was like 15, but you know when you're a kid, and especially in the UK, I feel like the culture in the US is a lot better. Like, you'll go to a gym and you'll genuinely have like knowledge of what you're doing. In the UK, like, I went to a bad school, so maybe that affects it. Like, maybe if you go to a private school, you get the training and like you know the things you're doing. So I'll see like 17-year-old like people at my gym. Like, I thought they were like 20 years old or whatever. I spoke to him, and there's a few others as well, and they went to a school that was like a private school, so they've got, I guess, they've had it. I'm not gonna say they've had it easy, but they know what they're doing because of the preparation they've been given by their schools and I guess families. And they're built like 20-plus-year-olds who have been going to the gym for 3-4 years, and I'm like, how is that even possible? Especially when I found out their age, I was like, what is going on? But when I was their age, I was just sort of, I don't think I'd touched any, like, I was just stuck on the machines still, and I started like using different things at the gym other than machines, maybe at like 18, 19, but I wasn't really consistent then. I was just sort of using them here and there. yeah, it's a long process. I feel that, man. 7 years of going to the gym for 2 years of progress. That hit me deep in the heart. But hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. And yeah, until next time, I subscribe.